Hey everybody. I hope that the lab section went well. I hope you kind of understand the seven characteristics of living things that we've been talking about, especially homeostasis, since we went over it this week. And so now I feel confident that we understand what a living thing is. We understand what a living thing is and what isn't a living thing. So our next job is quite simple. We need to understand how we're going to label and classify what is living. Okay, we know what is living, but now we have to put them into groups. We have to classify them. We can't just have everything in one giant group. Scientists love to group things up and make things into smaller and smaller groups based on characteristics and that I mean that's human nature. We like to organize things. We like to put things in their correct place. The first times we were actually organizing life as humans, we usually did it based on the philosophical reason or a theological one. We were trying to put animals based on how we felt, how special they were. Nowadays, we kind of use DNA and we use other evidence like fossil evidence and other things to kind of put animals and plants and funguses and bacteria where they kind of need to be based on what they are. And so this is actually a never changing thing. You would think we would have it all set up already. We would have everything done and the classification of living things. We'd have everybody in the spots they need to go. And that's not the case. We are moving people all the time and things are changing. And it will forever be changing because we're always finding more evidence and it's never done. That's the wonderful, great thing about science. You're never finished. There is always more to find out. Every single time you come up with an answer, it creates more and more questions. And so classification is one of them. So here I have a picture of five of the kingdoms. These are actually the English names for the kingdoms. You might see other names like, for example, Kingdom of Animals is sometimes in Latin form, it's Animalia or Plantae for plants. And so you have to, get used to that, and whatnot. And you'll figure it out. It's not that hard to realize that animalia means animals. But you can kind of see that this is a general picture of living things. Up top, we have protists. We're not really going to cover protists that much in this class, and that's unfortunate. We just don't really have time. But protists is a little bit of a catch-all group, and what I mean by that is it's a mixed bag. So you have things that are single-cell organisms that are really, 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 really tiny and do really odd jobs and live in really odd places in the world, or you have single cell organisms that are basically everywhere and they are really, really important to their ecosystems. And then you have other protists like the algae there that make giant forests in different spots of the world and work together. And we have multicellular protists, we have a bunch of different things. It's not just as simple as one tiny little protist, it's a bunch. Monarians, another word for bacteria. There's tons of bacteria in the world. They're almost all single cell organisms. And they're all microscopic. They're very hard to see. They can live in colonies, and you can actually see a bacterial colony if it gets big enough, which is never a good sign. It means there's an infestation. But bacteria are one of the more simple living things on Earth, but one of the most important ones. We wouldn't be here without bacteria. And then we start getting to the more common ones that you guys know. Funguses, like mushrooms and yeast. Yeast is a fungus, and mold. Plants, you got a bunch of different things in plants. Obviously, most plants are stationary. Most plants are what we call autotrophs, meaning they make their own food. And then there's animals who are usually heterotrophs, and they are finding their own food. That's really what distinguishes plants and animals. Is one makes food, one has to find their food. And so we're going to classify them. That's it for notes. There's not a lot of notes. So again, I'm going to kind of throw you guys into the deep end, and we're going to try some things out. Then we'll resort everything out next week and make sure we are where we need to be. But for now, you guys are going to do a virtual lab. I would like you to try to sort the animals based on what you kind of know, what you can kind of figure out, and see if you can get them in the right spots. This might be a challenge. This might take some time. Usually, we do this lab in person, not virtually, and it's I give each student group about 500 little cards, and you have to sort all these living things into different groups and come up with the best classification systems as you can. and then we talk about what it actually is. And so this is a little bit in the middle. Obviously, this is kind of the what we have now for the times that we live in, but I'll see how it goes, and hopefully it goes well for you guys. So if you need any help, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys later.